Hello, welcome back. So in earlier lecture, we just understood up to 25th question. Now let us continue from 26th question. Okay. What is it saying? Mule event is composed of hierarchy of objects. Where in the hierarchy are variables stored? Variables are part of mule event, right? Yeah, answer A. Mule event. Hey, they have given answer. See, mule message. Mule message contains only attributes and payload. Wheres are part of mule event. So answer A is the right answer. Okay, now 27. It is related to, I guess, error handling. What is it saying? Validation component in private flow throws an error. What response is returned to client request? Okay. In this private flow, this is throwing an error. So from main, here is a flow reference calling this private. Here this is throwing an error. Now on error continue is executed. On error continue, set payload is set as error dash private flow. So as it is on error continue, the control will go to the caller as if no error has happened. So the control will go to the next component. So it is setting payload as success main flow. So we'll get response as success main flow. Yes, answer C. Option C is the right answer. Good, very simple question, but your concepts related to error handling should be clear. Again, if your concepts related to error handling is not clear, you can go to my playlist where I have discussed about error handling. Go to the Mule developer playlist. Fine, 28. Again, it is related to scatter gather. What is it saying? Each route in scatter gather sets the payload to the number shown in the label. What is the response returned to web client? Response now. So this is setting payload as 100. This is setting payload as 200. What is the response returned? What is this transform message doing? It is just converting the payload to JSON, right? So let us try to understand what is the payload after scatter gather. The payload after scatter gather will be actually an object. It looks like this. The payload after scatter gather will be an object. 0 is the key. Value is an object again, which is the mule message. The mule message of the first route. 1 is a key. Value is the mule message of second route. Okay, this is the payload after scatter gather. Normally, people will say that we feel that output after scatter gather will be an array, right? No, output after scatter gather will be an object like this. So let us see the options here. First one is saying array, no. Second is saying key value pair 0 and 1 keys are same, but value is not payload. Value is a mule message object. No, B is not right. C is actually telling array of payloads. No, D. Now, as I said, key is 0 and value is the mule message of the first route. Attributes, they are saying just dot 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 payload of first route. And again, key 1. Value is mule message of second route, right? So option D is my answer, right answer. Good. Now 29. What valid YAML retrieves details on a specific order ID as URI parameter? A /orders/order ID get looks correct. URI parameter. Actually, it is URI, not URL. A looks to be correct. Slash orders, under that slash order ID, curly brackets, syntax, everything is fine. B is not correct because order ID is not the URI parameter. It has to be in curly brackets. So B is not correct and C is not correct. Get should be after order ID. D, again, this is also not correct. So option A is the right answer. Fine. 30. An API specification is designed using RAML. What is the next step to create REST connector? Simple. I think if you've seen my API specification videos in the developer course playlist, you'll be able to answer this easily. If you just publish your API to Exchange, a connector will be automatically created. So without any without looking back, the answer is publish your API to any point Exchange. That's all. Now 31. What is it saying? A company has defined a book data type and book example to be used in APIs. What is a valid RAML for an API that uses book data type and example data type? This is a book data type and this is example data type. How to use that? See, on the top of this, this definition should be under types. So they didn't mention types. So this is not correct. Here also under B types, they just mentioned book data type, but not under types. So B is also not correct. C, here under types, they have defined book data type. Okay, but they are not using exclamation include. Exclamation include has to be used. So this is also not correct. D. Now it is correct. Under types, book data type is defined. Exclamation include. Yeah. So, and when they're defining, and here type is book, whatever they have given. and when defining examples, they are using exclamation include. So option D is the right answer. So 32. Batch process filters and aggregates records. What is the expected output in the logger component? Oh, this similar thing has come earlier also, but here it is different. Now let us see. Here in these type of questions, make sure that you see the XML as well. What is the payload? What is logged here? That is a question, right? Payload is an array of 1 to 6. Okay. Let us see step. For this step, what is the accept expression? Payload mod 2. That means it is accepting only even numbers. So only even numbers will come and that even number is multiplied by 10. Then the aggregator size is 2. Okay. So what will be the payload inside aggregator always? Always whenever logger is executed, the payload will be an array of size 2 because aggregator size is mentioned as 2. And remember, only even numbers come and they're multiplied by 100, multiplied by 10. So 20, 40, 60, but size is 2, right? 20, 40, 20, 40, and 60 in another array, right? So actually, I think they made a spelling mistake. It has to be 20, 40 in one array and 60 in another array. Good. Number 33. This is very interesting. I guess it is related to for each. What load and quantity are logged at the end of main flow? What quantity and what payload is logged? Remember, whenever you are using for each, it is a for each scope, right? Remember, payload will never be changed. That means whatever is a payload before for each, that will be same after for each as well. So payload of for the logger will be 1, 2, 3, 4 only. But variables, whatever you change, that will be affected in the mule event. So here, even though you are changing payload, it is not changed. Set variable is incrementing the quantity by 1 every time. So the array size is 4. Quantity is initially 10. By the time it comes out of the loop, quantity will be 10 plus 4, 14, and payload will be the original array. So what is the payload and quantity logged? Here, what is the payload and quantity log? Payload is 1, 2, 3, 4 only. Quantity will be 14, as I said. So option A is the right answer. Good question, right? So your knowledge has to be clear. Remember, whenever you are using for each scope, even though you change the payload inside for each scope, the payload will not, the original payload will not be changed. That is a concept you need to understand. You can try it out in your Anypoint Studio, create such a flow, debug and see. Remember that in for each scope, if payload is changed, it is actually not changing the original payload. So whatever is the payload before for each will be the payload after for each as well. But if you change variables inside mule event, that variables will be changed. That is a concept. This is a concept based question. Fine. Question number 34. I guess it is related to scatter gather. Web client submits a request. What is the structure of the payload at the end of the flow? Again, as I said, the payload after scatter gather will be an object which contains keys as 0 for first route, 1 as 1 for second route, etc. And the value will be the mule message object, which contains attributes and payload. So here the flows are setting payload as apple and banana, right? So banana is the first route, apple is the second route. So I guess D is the right answer. D is containing object where keys are 0 and 1. Values are mule messages for each flow. So option D is the right answer. 35 choice router is there. All the 3 conditions of choice router are same. What log messages are written? Whatever first route matches, that route will be taken. So this logger, route 1 will be logged. So it is not like switch case default. Normally in programming languages, if it is switch case default, all of this will be executed. It is not like switch case default. Whatever first route matches, that will be executed. That's all. The rest of the routes will not be executed. Okay. What execution model is used by for each and batch job? For each is sequential, right? Single threaded. And of course, batch job is multi-threaded. It is a very simple question. Answer A is the right answer. Number 37. Web client submits a request to this URL. First name is a query parameter. What is the correct data view syntax to extract first name? Oh, similar question came earlier also. So I hope everybody will answer this. Attributes.queryparams.first name. Good. Now let us go to 38. Some questions are very easy. Some questions are tricky. Okay, let us go to 38. RAML specification includes a resource and method to retrieve accounts by account type and industry. What is the correct URI to get all retail finance accounts? This value of account type can be either retail or commercial, and industry can be either of this, right? So how to get what should be the correct URI to retrieve all retail as well as commercial account. So both account type is equals to retail ampersand industry equals to finance. Account type is equals to retail and industry equals to finance. They are defined as query parameters, right? Where contains a HTTP listeners and HTTP use. Okay. What are accessible in child flow after web client submits a request to /order? In the child flow, what all are accessible? See, whenever you are using a request component, it is a new request. Is it? It's a new request. So whatever variable you are setting, it is not available to child flow. But whatever payload you are setting, that will be by default sent to the child flow, right? So payload will be available. What are accessible in child flow? Payload, but variable will not be available. So B is not correct. Query params. Oh, I guess query parameter color equals to red is passed, right? But until and unless query parameters in the request, they will not be accessible in the child flow. So as I said, they are using default configurations. The query parameters available in first flow will not be available to this child flow. So 3 is not correct. D is also not correct. Only payload is accessible. Whatever payload is set here, that will go as part of post body. Variables are not accessible. Query parameters are not accessible because it is request. But if this was a flow reference to the child flow, everything will be accessible. Remember, if it was a flow reference instead of request, payload, variable, query parameters, everything would have been accessible. So this is a conceptual based question. Okay. So question number 40. The set payload transformer. I guess this was a similar question we used. I guess we understood. Lookup is the function which is used to call the same question came earlier. Let me read it again. The set payload transformer in the add item child flow uses data view to create an object. Okay, like this. What is the correct data view code for set payload transformer of create order flow to use add child flow to add a router call to the price? So lookup is a function to call a function in data view. So either A or C. But in C here, we don't need to specify payload colon. Whatever we are passing as second argument is a payload. So answer A is the right answer, 100%. Okay. You don't need to specify payload colon. A is the right answer. Okay, question number 41. What is it saying? The main flow contains a flow reference to child flow. What values are accessible in child flow? Yeah, as I told you, this is same question what I told earlier. Here you are using flow reference. The entire mule event is available. So query parameter color red is available, variable is available. Everything will be available because if you are using flow reference, whatever mule event is available in the main flow will be available in child flow. So everything will be available, payload, variable, query parameters, etc. So D is the right answer. 42. Okay, let us see here. What can be added to the flow to persist data across flow executions? This is a flow. As you know, whatever data you add to variables, that will be available only in the mule event. It will not be available across flow executions. So I hope you know, if you have seen my videos about object store, I've clearly explained if you want some data to be available across flow executions, object store is the one. So the question is related to object store. Key value pairs must be set in object store if you want to persist data across different flow executions. This is no doubt at all. If you've seen my object store video, you should have answered this very easily. Okay, number 43. A Mule application contains global error handler to catch any errors. Where the global specified. So the global error handler catches all errors from flows without their own handlers. It is very simple. We have to specify a global element. Inside a global element, we have to specify this error handler is a default error handler. So if you've seen my error handling videos, you'll be able to answer this easily. You have to define in global element. C is the right answer. Number 44, what is it saying? The error occurs when a project is run in Studio. The project which has a dependency that is not in Mulesoft Maven repository was created and successfully run on a different computer. What is the next step to fix? Okay, on a separate computer, it was running successfully, but the dependency was not in Mulesoft's Maven repository. So that means as it was running on a different computer successfully, that means the user might have installed the dependency manually in his computer. Right? So what is the answer? Install in your computer also, install the dependency to the computer's local Maven repository. You have to do it because it is not available in the public Maven repository. You might have to manually do that. So B is the right answer. So let us see the last question for this video, 45. Payload is this one. Transformer is just concatenating key value pair to the existing payload. What is returned to records.csv when the flow executes? Okay, here we are using write component to write a CSV. File name is records.csv. What are they asking? What is returned? Hey, before file write, the transformer is transforming to JSON, right? So whatever is the payload will be returned to the file. Just because the file name is ending with CSV, the file will not be containing CSV. Whatever is the payload before the write component, that will be written. So JSON payload will be written. Don't expect that the right file component will convert to CSV. It's just blindly writing whatever is the payload. See here, the file content is mentioned as payload, right? So what is the payload before write? JSON. So JSON payload. This is a tricky question. You need to be very careful, right? So we completed up to question number 45. We'll continue from 46 in the next video. See you.